I think Yuvari will be kind of looking after our little dragonborn princess, making sure that, you know, she's okay. She doesn't know how to talk to children, so she's just kind of like standing near the fire, not aggressively, but like intensely staring at the dragonborn, being like, "You, I can't ask if you're okay. I wouldn't be okay either, all things considered." She's gonna step closer, the little dragonborn, and just kind of ask if she's okay, kind of, how she's feeling.
The dragonborn, who at this point, all of you can guess this is Princess Nyalkish Yorzir. You know, the entire time that she was running with you guys, she was very quiet and very, very clearly upset. And now, you know, sitting here, she has her hands in her laps and has been just staring at the ground. Her eyes are still very watery, but she had stopped crying quite a while ago, as there's probably just no tears left in her at this point.
Her baby.
And Yavari, as you speak up, she, you know, lifts her gaze briefly to you before looking away again, and just quietly says, "I'm fine."
Ouch. Ouch. Did you ever have a pet growing up?
No, my mother wasn't very fond of pets.
I see. Well, I'd like you to meet somebody.
Oh.
And you hear squeaking coming from the hood of her cape. And Yuvari reaches back and she holds up in her hand and nibbles the mouse scurries onto her hand. And she just carefully places Nibbles onto the princess's lap and goes, "That's Nibbles. He's my friend. And he has been through so many situations with me. A lot of sorrow. And I feel like you are at this point too, if I can make assumptions, princess. But he's good company. And if you want, I think Nibbles would be great company for you too."
And as you place Nibbles down in her lap, she kind of like just stares down at him, and he's looking back up at her as you speak. And eventually she kind of looks up at you and tilts her head slightly and asks, "Why do you have a pet rat?"
There goes the Beppis.
Yeah, there it goes.
Nibbles heard you talking shit.
Yeah, clearly. Shit.
She goes, "You know, people have cats and dogs and horses and sheep. I just happen to have a rat. And he's very friendly. He doesn't bite. He likes cuddles."
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, Yuvari just nods her head. Yeah, it is a little weird, huh? Okay.
She kind of like hesitantly lifts one of her like hands and like pats the rat's back. She doesn't really seem to know what to do with this thing, but she probably appreciates it.
Kind of as they come into the clearing, like she's not even going to like wave or anything, which would be her sort of normal reaction to seeing the rest of the group. I think she's just going to sort of walk along with Runarian until she kind of gets to like this little like tree. I guess it's a tree log by Arca, and just kind of like plops down.
Apparently, it was cited that Drow had done it. Also, from what we heard, there were no survivors.
Oh, God.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Yolkish looks about ready to start crying again.
Oh.
Yeah, Yulia just kind of looks back down at their rapier and like you can see like their eyes getting really glossy.
At the risk of sounding selfish, perhaps, do you know if Poe was still in Eastoft?
Who was Poe? I apologize.
He was a Tengu.
I don't recall seeing him in Drakemount, but I'm not too sure, I'm afraid.
Oh, gods. I mean, well, not gods. Oh, Garuda, help me. Yeah, Arco looks distressed and he looks away, but yeah, he looks distressed.
Settles down for a little bit. It's not all that long afterwards when the rest of your party shows up. In the form of Narszelas and Taffy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I will go ahead and say that Narszelas is sporting a very vacant, very distant stare and is holding what appears to be an empty bottle of wine in his hand.
Oh no.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Supported by Taffy, in which he is he's kind of dragging his feet along a little bit.
Also, Taffy doesn't look like Taffy. He is. He looks like a slightly. He's like a different type of. He looks like a different Tabaxi.
Forgot.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Oh no. As you guys come in, Ari kind of looks over, sees Narszelas, sees other Tabaxi.
Yeah.
Looks very confused. Narszelas, who is that with you?
Taffy.
Taffy looks a little
Me.
confused.
Who is it? It's Taffy.
Taffy's like, oh, right. Sorry, I had to use a disguise. Give me a minute, I'll clean it up. He looks just exhausted. He kind of walks over to the tents to get himself clear the disguise kit off of himself.
Don't glare at Taffy. He had a bad day. He saw Sturkin, and
What?
I
What?
wasn't there.
Wait,
I
hold
don't-
on. Hold on.
What?
Hold on.
Sturkin?
Yavari immediately turns over to Taffy and just glares him down. Explain. Explain.
He had better be dead.
So, he's middle of rubbing his face, like, clean his face off. And when he freezes, he's like, well, so much for not telling anyone all that stuff. All right. So he
You
finished,
gave him the wine. What did you expect?
I was a little distracted. So, yeah, I found Sturkin, and he kind of pauses for a minute. He takes a deep breath. So, I went to go and talk to my contact from the Padlock Guild in Drakemount. And it turns out that Gwen had been working with Sturkin the whole time. And I considered getting them both there and then, but he just stops. And he's like, he's trying to like figure out an explanation, but he just kind of like, he just slumps defeated, and he's like, I don't know. I just stopped and ran. Speaking.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Speaking of which, nobody talked to any other Padlock Guild members, at least not without me present. I don't know if they're trustworthy anymore.
Nari will kind of step forward towards Taffy, and he'll reach over and pat him on the shoulder as he says, "You know, I think it's a good thing at least we're all safe and alive, and I understand it might be frustrating. Sturkin was there, but at least you didn't get harmed."
Yeah, I guess. He's he grumbles to himself, and he goes and he starts digging around at his equipment, and he pulls out some. He pulls out the 2 crossbows he had that he confiscated from Sturkin's house, along with some bolts and twine. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was I just couldn't live with the murder. Maybe it was I was scared. Maybe I just couldn't believe it. I don't know. I need to think about this. I'll be setting up traps if you need me.
Be better to move elsewhere. He'll kind of glance back towards Narszelas and say,
Narszelas will immediately turn toward Renarian upon hearing that. He's gonna go, "Oh no, I know exactly where we're gonna go. I know where we're gonna stay, and it's gonna be super safe. Trust me, I am the trustworthy person. I'm going to get you guys into Darkwood, like the town, not just the forest. And then there's somebody there who owes me a big favor. I'm gonna go
Are
inside
you sure they're trustworthy, Narszelas?
Yes, I'm sure. We're going to Darkwood. And besides, I needed this. I gotta go talk to my mom. So
"What?
we're going to the Underdark, and Phyllis down.
What?" Narszelas, I think it's best we talk about this later once you've sobered up.
No, we need to go now. I'm fine. I remember everybody here said, okay, we trust you, Narszelas, and I need you all to trust me, and we need to go, okay?
What business do we have in the Underdark?
We just talked about this the last time. We can't go any other place. The ports are closed, the Donovan range is cut off, so I'm taking you to the Underdark so we can go to the other side of the Donovan range and pop up over there. Kind of look over her for a minute and be like, you're the royal person, aren't you?
I don't know if I can claim that title anymore.
You're still like the princess, right? That's the word.
Yes.
What is your name again?
Nyalkish. You can call me Nia.
Nia. Okay, well, my name is Narszelas, and everybody keeps calling me Nars, but I'd prefer it if you just used Shellis or didn't speak at all. But like it's fine.
Taffy glances at the ground at that. Is like, oh.
Aww.
You're the princess, right?
Yes.
So like, can't you just like, I don't know. What if we give you like a super powerful weapon and you just go stab Faldman?
Oh my god.
She looks a little uncomfortable as she looks at the floor and says, No, my dad always used to tell me not to stoop down to other people's level.
I'll stoop for you.
I'll
I
st-
so low.
And that
That's
kind of
my
seems
boy.
to get a small smile out of her. With that, you guys will set out northward with Narszelas in the lead as he will take you guys onward towards Darkwood. It takes you some time of travel to finally reach it, and as you do, at first, the Darkwood seems beautiful with conifers and spruce trees that start off small, but soon as you venture further into the forest, they are towering around you like giants in the hills. All around you seems to be beauty of every kind and color, soon swallowed by a massive, shadowy canopy that gave the wood its name. The trees are dark in color, almost blue in tone, with violet and silvery foliage that was scattered across the ground. And deeper into the blanket of thick darkness, peering, off into it, you could almost see the shimmering of silver spider webs clinging to some of the trees as you go. And onward you all shall march through the shadows and the thick trees, making your way towards Darkwood the best you can without having a main path or road to follow. Narszelas and Tove, I almost said Anna, as you guys are walking along through these dark woods to the point where, some patches of this, it almost feels like nighttime with such little sunlight that is getting through the thick canopy above you. But as you go, you notice up ahead what appears to be a signpost. It's very old and worn. It's covered in moss and vines. You nearly miss it at first. But you two will catch sight of it. And upon a closer inspection as you approach it, Narszelas, you will recognize the language. But Tove, you do not. I think you would probably recognize that it's written in Drowic.
Ari, you know what the sign says, don't you?
And Ari kind of looks up as he was seemed to be distracted looking at the other side of the forest, and he walks over to get a better look at what you guys are looking at. And old name for Darkwood.
It is the name for Darkwood, yes, before you all decided to take it and rename it.
Ari holds up his hands in innocence.
And he will just sort of turn toward him like, "Oh, Ari, you were part of the militia back then, weren't you? Weren't you in Relavin when you guys annexed it from us?"
There's a
Conquered is perhaps the better word.
There's an unfamiliar look that kind of passes over Renarian's face as something kind of dark and uncertain as he puts his hands down to his sides and says, "Not by choice, but yes, I was there."
Narszelas takes a deep breath and just his shoulders rise and fall. And he reaches up again and starts rubbing at the side of his head, over his forehead, pulling at his hair, and he's like, "Tove, it's the signpost for a much larger settlement that used to be here. I believe you guys call them Azure Rock and Darkwood. They used to be the same thing, for half of it was burnt to the ground."
Narszelas, you'll kind of notice it first as you begin to get closer. There's kind of like a shift in the environment where the trees seem a little thinner around this area as everything has had to, or a lot of it has had to regrow after the war 50 years ago. And approaching closer, I'll let you describe, how would Narszelas want to approach the town? Like, are you guys going to get back on the main road? Are you going to continue from
Unfortunately, they did talk about having to go into town, so
Yeah.
I think at this point, he's going to rid himself of any house emblems. I mean, he's taking them off, he's throwing them in the ground. And he will kind of remove a lot of the large pieces of his armor, like not any of the cloth bits, but any of the like metal, any vambraces, things like that. He'll hand off his weapons to Tove and just like motion for her to keep them in her bag. And he will kind of can he address the group?
Yeah.
Okay, so he will turn toward everyone and he's going to say, "All right. So here's how this is going to work out. Now, some of you are not going to like this. I hope all of you aren't going to like this, in fact. Darkwood is not a good place. It used to be. It used to be a great place. It's not now. And he's wringing his hands together and he's like, if anyone asks, you were coming with me here on pilgrimage to visit the Temple of Elistrai. I am a devout follower of Elistrai, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
I need you all to promise me something.
Okay.
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 Mhm.
All right.
You will not attack who's inside.
If I can
Uh,
stay my
no
hand
promises, but I will
against Sturkin.
It's mainly Tove and Yavari that I really need to promise me you're not gonna attack who's inside.
Fine, I will be on my best behavior.
Taffy,
Mm-hmm.
I need you to see if you can find anything that provides light that doesn't give off a yellow light, something blue, something purple, something that's not like a warm light, okay? For Tove and Arca, since they won't be able to see, you guys are gonna wanna, I don't know, get as many potions as you need, that sort of thing. But I will need to travel with them, and he'll point toward Ari. He's like, you.
Oh. All right.
It's safer if I go with you.
Okay. And Ari will turn to Nyalkish as she's been kind of sticking to his side. A quick question for you, Yavari. Would Nyalkish still just be holding Nibbles? Or would Yavari have tried to take her pet back?
Yavari would have left Nibbles with her. You know, going, make sure you take care of him.
Yeah. And yeah, Nyalkish has just been carrying this rat in her arms. But Ari will kind of look down to her and he'll say, Nia, why don't you stick with Yavari and them for right now, all right? And you might want to keep your hood up. He's, kind of picking up on Narszelas. The way Narszelas is speaking, it's making him feel a little uneasy, so he just will stick Nyalkish's hood up to cover her face. Because it is the princess after all. Ha! Yeah, then he'll kind of move up to walk beside Narszelas as Nyalkish will kind of hover closer to Yavari's side now.
And that's all he'll address.
It's massive. I can't make it smaller.
What? Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Duffy.
So all I wanted to do was, is it possible for me to take some paint out of my disguise kit and paint the inside of my hooded lantern blue?
You know what? I'll allow it because
Okay.
I like the idea.
It's
Okay.
creative enough.
It is.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Advantage
go
for
ahead
creativity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you guys continue onward into Darkwood. As you kind of find the main path with Narszelas leading the way into, as you get into it, what is a rather sleepy, sad, and quiet sort of town. The center of town is what draws your eye in, however, as it is occupied by what many would consider to be a horrifying addition to the cobblestone, which is a hangman's noose. Still freshly used and occupied.
Oh.
Body of a young woman.
Oh.
That's wonderful.
That's a great start to this journey together, guys. Really, just truly.
It's a young woman with dark skin and white hair, and the crest of a house, of a drow house, studded across her armor. One no one would likely recognize other than Narszelas and Ari.
Narszelas will raise his eyes up to the body that is swaying back and forth there, and then immediately move his eyes away and just sort of look back at the party like, this is what I was talking about, sort of thing. And he is going to beeline, kind of around it, kind of skirting. So he'll want to go oh, I'm behind everybody. He'll want to go this way first, and then over, and head for this house.
Okay. And what do you do as you come up to this building?
He goes around to the front porch, just facing the other way, like a normal house does.
Yeah.
Just, he goes up to the door, and he'll kind of look awkwardly back at the rest of the party as he shuffles over to the front, and he just sort of stands there for a minute, very rigidly, sort of looking awkwardly from side to side. He'll raise his hand up, and you just hear bang, bang, bang against the door, and you just hear him go, "Dad, it's me."
Huh?
What? Hold on.
Ari is looking very confused at the moment. And concerned.
You just hear again, bang, bang, bang. Open the door or I'll kill you.
There it is.
After a moment, you hear movement from inside. Someone kind of shuffling around and moving some things as they say, "What? Hold on." And Narszelas, since you're kind of the closest one to the door with everyone else hanging back, you can hear locks beginning to unlock, multiple locks, as someone kind of moves their way down whatever the hell they have locking this door from the inside. Here, at least 5 or 6. And soon the door cracks open just a bit as you can see just one yellow eye staring out at you from the dimness of the room inside. The person says, "Narszelas, what are you doing here?"
You need to let me and everyone else inside right now, because as it stands, you're wanted too.
Yeah, word got here real fucking quick about that.
Isn't it kind of fucking funny how it's your fucking fault?
Listen! Hey.
You owe me, you little bitch. Open the door.
Oh my god.
Alright, fine.
You've already holding Princess's ears.
Protect her precious hearing.
Yeah, the door will open, and Narszelas will find himself and the rest of the party as you come forward. You'll see a very familiar face. They're ready to greet you as a purple-skinned drow with silvery hair and yellow eyes.
Well, look who it is.
As he'll open the door and, allow everyone inside. Looking very uncomfortable.
Remember, everybody, you promised. No killing.
If there wasn't a kid right here. If there wasn't a kid.
Yulia is just honestly a little surprised he's actually alive.
But you guys come inside, and the room that you come into, it's fairly small, feels close to being a little cramped with how many of you come into the room. But it's set up kind of like a general like seating area. The door opens into a fairly square-shaped room that has like a sofa along one wall, and there's like a couple of mismatched chairs sitting beside it as well, kind of around a very low table. In the back, there's a staircase that leads upwards to the next floor, and a doorway off to the other side beside it that seems to lead into another room. What is going on?
The first thing you're gonna say to me?
Okay, there's a lot. Listen, Narszelas, I'm sorry. Okay, I made some stupid choices because I was afraid.
Well, I need you to make another stupid choice for me.
What would that be?
I am calling on you for the fact you betrayed me. I am trusting you with this, not only because my head's on the line, but so is yours. Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
You know how you got me out of the Underdark?
Yes.
I need to go back down.
Oh.
It's like he knew it was coming.
He looks more serious than usual. His face is kind of older looking in how he's composed himself. His eyes are narrowed, and he says to Imran and Drowick, he'll say, Imran, one more thing. This is my one chance to do this. You screw this up for me, and I'll make sure that you pay. Do you understand?
Yeah, got it. Got it. And Imran is looking just as nervous as he did before.
Good. Don't disappoint me. Go.
Alright. And without saying or doing anything to the rest of the party, you all will see Imran just slip out the front door and close it shut tightly behind him. I think Narszelas wanted you to get some stuff for him, and is there anything you were looking for while you guys are here?
First, he's going to ask for a pair of blades that are weighted to work well with each other. Preferably sabers, if possible. If they don't, then you know, what do they have?
And the smith nods, looks through his things, and eventually will come back to you with a pair of sabers that look to be pretty much identical to one another. And, you know, weighing them in your hands, their weight is fairly balanced. And he'll sell them to you for the price of 20 gold pieces for the pair.
It's like, you don't happen to have, what the heck is this thing called? A studded leather armor, do you?
And soon enough kind of pulls out something and walks back over to hold it up in front of Taffy, as if kind of like measuring with his eyes if it would fit. And it looks like it might be just a tad bit big, but it is studded leather in like dark crimson color.
Oh, baby.
Says, this'll do.
That'll work.
Yeah, you guys head closer to the glass mountains as they continue to loom, you know, higher and higher above you the closer you get, until eventually you come fairly close to their base. And you see ahead of you through the silvery underbrush surrounding the tall pine trees. There's a cave entrance up ahead that you can see, which appears to be covered in vines and spider webs. And with Narszelas at the front, you see that he has you all stop before the entrance a little ways, as it is currently guarded by 2 drow standing just outside of it. And they both kind of regard the party with suspicion, though their gaze is mostly settled on Narszelas.
He'll say in Drowic, I suppose my messenger has come ahead of me?
And the one standing to the side, dressed in black and purple robes with a book tucked in at his waist, will nod stoically and say, in Drow, yeah, the little silver-haired one told us you'd be coming, so...
Narszelas turns around for a minute and says, Ari, can you come here?
Oh, sure. He'll kind of work his way up towards the front of the group.
He turns as Ari, emerges from the front of the group, and the way he looks at these two, he turns back toward them, and he's got this, thickening little smirk on his mouth, just looking between the two of them, and he says in Drowic, is there going to be a problem to the belief in my story?
The two kind of share a surprised look with each other and with Narszelas as their gaze goes between him and Runarian. And the one who'd spoken before shakes his head and gestures towards the cave entrance and says, no, not at all. And of course, in here, as you would expect, it's dark as you go, but the ground is very well worn and smooth from probably the many years that it has seen use. Now you guys descend from your realm of the surface into the realm of the Underdark.
Oh, here we go. See if I can fit this all up. There we go.
And as you guys descend down into the caves, they're fairly spacious and most of the sides are smooth. As you begin at first, it's a lot of rock and plain stone. And the deeper you go down a very gentle slope, the almost stranger the caves or the cave walls begin to appear, as you see there are strips of what really you can only describe as glass that can be seen along the walls and the ceiling, almost allowing you to kind of peer through to the deeper layer of rock beneath.
Out of curiosity, in case we need to rely on certain aspects or certain organizations, do you happen to what is and I apologize in advance if this is a little offensive, but what criminal organizations do you happen to have down here?
And he'll just sort of laugh at that and shake his head. He's like, Taffy, my people do not. How do I explain? We don't have guilds of assassins or robbers. Every house has their own assassin. Every royal family, or every noble family has their own group of assassins that try to kill each other. It's just simple life. There is no good and evil here.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
Interesting.
My older brother is my house assassin, the housemaster assassin. He is quite possibly the most deadly person on this con.
That's good to know.
I really hope we don't meet him then.
Oh, that would be terrible, yes. And he just sort of shakes his head. And you might hear he has a very different tone to his voice.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah.
A little unsettling.
Being down here, and he feels at his best. And he's like, either way, you will notice other people like you, Taffy, Arca. I suggest you try not to speak to them.
Any particular reason why?
They're slaves.
Oh. Yeah. He's very nerdy. So Taffy's fur kind of starts to bristle up. His tail's flicking around.
So you all continue onward as you go down a particularly sharp slope through a tunnel into what soon opens into a much larger cavern. So large, in fact, that the ceiling far above you guys is almost out of sight if it were not for dim rays of sunlight from the surface peeking through the layers of glass in the mountains above, which illuminates the sight before you as this cavern covered, and the ground is covered in moss of greens and purples and blues, and spires of rock and mushroom clinging, for dear life to the stalactites and stalagmites are reaching up towards one another from the ground and the ceiling, creating almost a labyrinth or maze before you that you would have to navigate. This place known as the Fungal Labyrinth. Very aptly named.
This is so pretty.
Right?
It really
It
is.
is.
Yeah, while there are some areas are open and full of light as you go, there are some spaces where the ceiling hangs low, to the point where even someone as small as Nyalkish would probably have trouble squeezing through the cracks. Moss is thick beneath your feet, and the smell of stagnant water and mold kind of permeates the air around you all. But onward, Narszelas will take you all, his feet finding a familiar path through the labyrinth before you.
Going down.
Yeah, continuously going at a downward slope. Steady at some places, sharp and uneven at others. Until you reach a point where Narszelas kind of brings you all to a halt. And it's in this area where the light is rather dim, and most of the openings and, glass layers from the surface are at a far away enough distance that it almost becomes dark enough to the point where you can't see yet again. Up until Narszelas has you all stop before what you can only describe is an opening in the ground that stretches out, hundreds of feet to the other side from you guys. And peering over the edge, you see there are a series of steps closest to you that would lead the way downward. But through this hole, you can see far below you is the stretch of a city larger than that which you have ever seen before. Any of you have seen before. Trying to find it. Oh, here it is. And from this vantage point, you can see this massive city, even if it may be the smallest on the entirety of the subterranean continent of the Middle Dark. It is surrounded almost entirely by rivers. The whole city is built on tiers of rock within the caverns, and the ceiling, which from what you can see from your vantage point, appears to be naught but stalactites, spider nests, and webs that look down on the city as though to pierce the individual houses. The houses far below are illuminated by the glow of mushrooms as well as moss that clings to almost anything it can get its planty little hands on. Actually, I should switch over to the southern map, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Here, this is going to be a very large map. I apologize. You're going to have to zoom way out, Renard.
Ooh.
The houses themselves are made up of black glass and stone with glowing purple lights that emanate like starlight from the center of their roofs and the ornate design in their windows. Everywhere you look from this vantage point, there seem to be patterns of spider webs on almost every surface, or spiders themselves embossed onto the floor. The houses, even from this distance, appear massive, but nothing is so impressive as the gargantuan, arachnid-shaped temple at the northernmost part of the city, which is the furthest point away from you guys. As you come onto the bridge over the gate itself as the water is steadily flowing underneath and past you out into a cavern far too dark for you to see out into.
Hang on.
And Taffy just immediately stops.
Can Narszelas sense anything?
Make a perception check for me.
Oh boy.
Come on. Can I use my anima shard?
Sure.
Yes,
You can roll with advantage.
Boom!
Oh,
22.
nice.
Nice.
Oh.
I will message you with what you sense.
Okay, and I'm gonna message you with what I want Narszelas to do.
Okay.
Narszelas pauses and looks around, front, and then turns back. He says, "We're not alone here."
That's not good.
Oh no.
Taffy puts his hood
I was
up.
hoping.
Oh,
Words I was
great.
hoping to not
Love
hear.
it.
And, drawing one of his swords, he'll say, in Drowic, "Come out."
And on the platform in front of you guys, towards the direction you were going towards, you hear this kind of chuckling laughter as Narszelas speaks.
Oh god.
And you
love
see
it.
from the shadows 2 figures take shape before you of 2 drow.
Of course.
Of course.
One of them, looking at them on the right-hand side, is a male drow.
Oh,
He's
boy.
incredibly tall, nearly 6 feet easily, wearing fully black armor with what appears to be sort of a red mantle draping over both of his shoulders, with a almost spider-like symbol embroidered into the cloth. Long red hair is pulled back into a ponytail as red eyes kind of regard you all with a look of indifference, with his hands folded behind his back. And to his side is a female drow with a wide grin across her face as she looks at you all with her own sharp red eyes and her white hair kind of spilling around her shoulders. And you can see she has a dagger in one hand that she's kind of spinning with her fingers idly as her gaze goes from Narszelas to Renarian to Tove, as she seems to be the one who is giggling. In Drowic, she says to Narszelas, "Narszelas, it's been a while."
He gives this sort of semi-disgusted look, but looks at the one to the right, and it's like he's holding that face. He's holding this very still, very guarded expression. Because can I just say, like, it's very obvious to recognize who the one on the right is.
Yeah, and
I'm correct. He should look almost identical to Narszelas.
yeah, as the party, if you guys kind of look at this drow standing before you, despite clearly being full drow while Narszelas is only half, the 2 do look very alike. It's almost a little uncanny.
And Narszelas, turning towards Tove as though he's fearing for her life, he will reach out to her and say, "Tove, come here."
Oh
Oh
no.
god. And Tove in this moment, who is just like dreading the absolute worst, just sort of instinctively like moves towards him.
I'm just gonna post something in Discord to you all real quick.
And and behind Tove.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I would say just behind Tove, Renarian currently has his gaze locked on the female drow, with a look on his face that seems to be a mixture of uncertainty and fear.
Can Narszelas act? Tove moved toward him, right?
Yeah.
So, taking hold of one of Tove's wrists, he will pull her toward him and sort of move a little bit off this way with her, as though looking over the railing. And he's going to turn towards the party and lift his sword up under Tove's neck.
No.
And pull her towards. And he's going to say, "You stupid little idiots, drop your weapons now."
And it's just at this moment where the party, you will notice that the shadows around you are deep and dark. And out of these shadows, many figures now appear. As one by one, drow appear before you and behind you.
There they are.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
As you are completely surrounded.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Narszelas will just look at the party, and he's got this, like, awful little smirk on his mouth, and he just says, "What? Don't tell me you're surprised. All this time spent running from the people you feared would be your enemies, and it's been me this whole time?"
Ivari looks like she's about to punch the shit out of Narszelas right now.
And Taffy, so at the back, Taffy's, he's got his eyes squinted at Narszelas. And he's like, he takes a kind of a sigh. And he's like, all right. We don't need to hurt nobody. And so he, very slowly, undoes his rapier, puts it down on the ground, takes out his quiver, puts it on the ground, takes out his, his bow, his daggers, his, just puts all his hurting stuff on the floor.
All his hurting stuff.
Ivari reluctantly does the same. Very reluctantly.
Yeah. Arca. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. Arca reluctantly also does the same, but the whole time he is staring Narszelas down, and he says, "Narszelas, what the hell are you doing?"
What? All that sympathetic garbage I've had to spout? Disgusting. If you actually let yourself be deluded by all of that, if you thought I was actually your friend, the friend of such inferior creatures as you are, then you're more pathetic than I thought.
Oh god.
Now, did all of you not hear me? Because I will kill her, and I will feel nothing for the trouble. But can all of you say the same?
Guys, weapons, floor.
And he will sort of pull Tove toward him a little bit. He'll whisper at her, and he'll just say, "Oh, I know you have something to say, don't you? Don't you just feel so stupid, you little human?" And in fact,
It is okay to kill your friends, guys. It's okay to kill your friends.
You, Tove, are perhaps the most pathetic one of the whole lot. Did you actually think you could appeal to the human part of me? Do what Yakan wanted and do away with the drow blood inside of me?
And Tove, who has just been like, she did not see any of this coming. She just sort of stands there in silence as all of this is happening. And as Narszelas starts speaking to her, like her face, just like the look on her face, it just moves from shock to like, I would almost call it like an undescribable rage. And she turns her head slightly towards him, though obviously really not a lot. And she says, "You're proud of yourself, aren't you? That you had us all fooled."
I am
Yeah.
so proud of myself.
You know, I should have known that you would have turned out to be a liar.
Oh, and why is that?
It's obvious, isn't it, Narszelas?
Oh, do tell me.
Yeah. That's all you drow are. Liars and murderers and fucking cowards.
Oh, Lithrana,
Yes.
once we get to the city, you can torture and kill the elf.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Good.
I'm gonna pass out.
I can
Nabari's glaring
return.
so hard at Narszelas right now.
Good. The elf and I have unfinished business.
Aren't you happy, Tove? Aren't you happy now you've killed him? It's your fault. Walk over through the Gloomstalkers to stand with his siblings, and he'll say, Rush, it's the first time I've seen you. Didn't actually expect that you'd come and believe that I brought, well, Runarian Faldvaniel and, Princess Nyalkish of the Kingdom of Laerid. I think Mother will be quite proud of me.
And, at this point is why you're speaking in Drowic, I assume?
No, he's speaking in common. He's a piece of shit.
Okay, that's fair. No, just so I know. And, as you move forward to address your siblings, the Gloomstalkers now who had surrounded the party move forward. They collect the weapons that were laying down, as well as put all of you into shackles. And these shackles, as they put them on your wrists, you can see faintly glowing on them appears to be these light purple spider symbols that if any of you try to cast spells or magic of any sort, it will be nullified.
Oh.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
fun.
And for Narszelas, as you kind of address your brother Resh, he's observing the group beyond the Gloomstalkers, and then looks to you as you approach. And he just kind of inclines his head, his face completely stoic, as he responds with, I believe Mother shall be quite pleased. He looks to Lithrana at his side as he says, and a reminder, Lithrana, you do not touch them. Oh, but he said I could have Runarian.
And you can, after Mother says what is to happen to him.
Fine, I guess I can wait.
Creepy bunch of freaks.
He'll turn back toward the group and he'll say, That's enough. I've waited my entire life to get my mother's recognition, and none of you are going to stand in front of me before I get it.
Yeah, I'm sure this is gonna win her approval. 10 out of 10.
Just you wait.
Was it all fucking nothing to you? Everything we did, everything we went through, all the times we saved your ass. Nothing.
Arca, you are a beast.
Hmm.
You know what you're good for? Labor, at most, but you can't even see in the dark, so maybe I'll get to find out what Aarakocra tastes like after all.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna faint!
Now, both of the tieflings will be left out of the dungeon, as I said. They are my guests, though they can remain in shackles until we get to our estate. Either way, I've heard enough out of them. Can we be going?
You go down through what appears to be a rather large market area around an enormous fountain. And as you go, even as you see the people in the streets, along a couple of the rooftops, there are spiders,
Oh.
big spiders that
Oh.
are kind of
Oh.
watching you guys, and you even see out amidst the crowd, oh boy, a creatures that kind of stand above the drow that have leathery dark skin and tentacles coming out of their face of mind flayers intermingled with the drow as well.
Oh, sorry. Are there any snakes?
Snakes?
Yeah, I'm
Not-
trying to find Narszelas' cousin.
yeah.
Oh, dang.
Oh damn.
Jeez.
Oh, Lord.
No snakes here.
Damn, it looks like you're one of a kind, Narszelas. One of a kind.
Oh,
Narszelas will
God.
just kind of give her a look. And he'll say, like, quietly, but enough where she can hear it, he'll say, "Can he speak to Yavari in Elvish? Not Drowic, but Elvish."
Yeah. I mean,
Will it be understood by his siblings?
Lathrana, no. Resh, you're unsure.
Alright, well, I'm just gonna go for it. This could he will pull her down and speak in Elvish. Spell he used on her. And he will say, "I'm faking it, you moron. Now shut up."
Now, how loud does he say this? Is he trying to be quiet? Just
He's trying to be
curiosity.
quiet, but he's angry.
Does Yulia hear this?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Does Yavari have a response to that for right now, or is she gonna keep quiet?
Yavara's just gonna just straight up look him dead in the eyes and go on, as if she's trying to tell him that through her facial expression.
And he just says, he continues in Elvish, he says, "Now all of you need to keep acting this way, but I swear to God, if you don't stop pushing punches at me, I'll start throwing some of my own." And he'll just, like, push her back and turn carefully toward Lathrana and Resh and just kind of gauge their reactions a little bit. Just, like, looking before them. He'll just say, he'll switch back to Drow, and he'll just say, "This one has always gotten on my nerves. Perhaps I will let you kill her after all."
Lathrana wasn't really paying you any mind until you speak to her directly, and she just smiles and says, "I guess." And Resh is silent, but he's looking at you from the corners of his eyes.
Oh no.
Oh.
He will maintain that look, and his eyes get like a little bit wider than they have been before, and then he just looks at the ground and he's like walks forward like he's beelining for their estate.
Mm-hmm.
Yavari just pretends to look a lot more sheepish and scared after Narszelas kind of pushed her back.
Narszelas, you'll see as you pass, you kind of have a very nice view into the courtyard before their front door, as you will recognize this estate as belonging to House Vondry.
But he's gonna keep walking. He's gonna just keep going.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, you'll see there's you see a couple of familiar faces there, but
not
you keep
Nope.
going.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Even as one of them kind of tries to call to you, but you're already gone.
I can't. It's so weird. I can't hear anymore. I have no ears.
I have no ears.
Bye, Shinton.
Yeah, goodbye.
Ah.
And as you all approach the steps, you see, out on the platform, just before the doors that would lead into the home, stands a woman. Narszelas, if you would like to describe her for me, I will give you this honor.
so mean.
Yeah.
That's so
My
mean.
anxiety just spiked.
Yeah.
She is tall. Like, I mean, most drow women do not reach this height. She's tall. She has the same red hair as him, and both Resh and Narszelas seem to have been spawned by her with the almost exact same face. I mean, there is no denying that they are related to this woman. She has obsidian skin and is very muscular. And the way that she stands is very much a person who is in control and in power. And as Narszelas sees her as the group continues, you hear this, like his breath gets caught, and he stops walking for a minute.
And as the drow woman standing here takes in the sight of all of you before her, her gaze hones in on Narszelas as this sweet smile comes to her lips. And she will kind of reach a hand out and beckon you forward with a curl of her fingers.
Oh boy. Narszelas will hesitantly turn his head and just, from the corners of his eyes, look at Resh and then turn behind him toward the rest of the group. And for a minute, there is a moment that this, like, strong facade of his face that he's put on, there is a moment that he loses control of it looking at the group behind him, that he looks unsure. And sort of strengthening it back up, he shakes his head and he approaches her and you just hear, Ilhares, I've brought you gifts.
And his mother smiles sweetly to him as she reaches forward and did you say is he bowing before her, or is he just standing there?
He's bowing.
Okay. She'll reach forward and kind of put a hand onto the side of your face as she will raise you back up to your height. And she'll say, My Narszelas, I am so very pleased with what you have brought me today.
She's in Drowic, right?
Yes.
Okay. So he freezes when she touches him, and there's this minute that, like, his skin grows cold, and there's pins and needles and this strange warmth in the pit of his belly, like he's done something right. And he just goes, You're happy? You're happy with what I brought you?
Of course. Why, with tensions the way they are with Layrid and two of their most wanted people here at my doorstep, I could not be happier.
He'll pause as he grasps for words, and he'll reach up and he'll sort of curl his fingers around her wrist, and he'll just say, I killed the queen. I killed Queen Myrna.
So I heard. And as they're having this discussion, the rest of you are kind of brought into a line at the foot of these steps, and are forced down to kneel before her. As you hear Resh, his brother, say to you all, You shall kneel before the Belcheress.
Taffy puts up no resistance. He just kneels.
I can resist.
Oh god!
And one of the Gloomstalkers will hit you in the back of your legs to get you to kneel down.
Oh
Damn.
god.
They are not nice about it in any way.
Yeah, didn't expect them to
Please, Mother, I've brought 2 tieflings here. I know you are fond of their people. I would ask that they be released so that they can be used as my servants. I am unfit to have drow servants, as you know, and I thought this would be the best alternative.
She'll kind of look over the two tiefling with a thoughtful expression as she'll say, "Very well, if that's what you want, Narszelas." And she'll make a motion with her hand as a couple of Gloomstalkers who were holding you two down, Yulia and Yavari, will come over and undo the shackles around your wrist to free you.
Narszelas will just beckon them both over, like, come here, do not cause a fucking scene.
Yuvari does it. No hesitation.
Julia also calmly just follows suit.
And he'll speak in common, and he'll say, the two of you are to accompany me as my servants from now on. I should be so grateful to my mother that she is allowing you to live.
Thank you.
That's right, I can understand her. Anyway, sorry, I'm just like, right.
And then she'll look over the rest of them as her eyes kind of fall upon Tove, Runarian, Yalkish, Arca, Taffy, and she'll look back to Narszelas as she says, "Well, I think this will be a most worthy cause for celebration. I planned a lovely banquet this evening for us to enjoy."
Oh, I do not deserve such praise, Mother.
Narszelas, of course you do. And she'll kind of moves her hand from his face, from your face to your shoulder, as she'll turn you back towards your companions and motion, towards Yalkish and Runarian specifically, as she says, "Not only have you killed the queen, you have brought me her eldest daughter and the son of General Caraniel, whom I'm sure shall have many, many secrets that Lithrana can drag out of him."
And as she does this, as she makes him look at them, his eyes are glassy, but he's maintaining as still a semblance as he can. He just says, "That I have." And once, of course, he gives us the information, I'm sure he will make a lovely sacrifice at the Temple of Loth.
Oh, God. Oh, okay. Y'all the boss. Give me strength. Give me patience.
I was thinking much the same. As for the beasts, I suppose we could always put them to work doing something, and she'll look at Tove. Human, I suppose, would make a worthy enough sacrifice to the Quel'Vel'Sharas as well.
Ilharis, as you say, I have grown tired of her presence. Anyway, and he'll try to turn back toward her if she'll let him. And he'll just say,
And she won't. She'll kind of keep you there, and as you say that, she'll say, "Oh, well, if you do not care for what I do with her, perhaps we'll start with that before our festivities this evening."
he'll pause and he'll say, "Actually, Mother, it's not that I don't appreciate what you're doing. It's just, unfortunately, due to the strain of being on the surface, I have picked up a rather human quality where I grow quite tired and sleep. If it is all right with you, as I would like nothing more than to be the one to plunge the dagger into her heart, will you please allow me and my guests to rest in my old bedroom for a while? I have not had the chance to in some time, and I would hate to be anything but awake for the festivities you have planned."
And she'll look at Narszelas for a long moment as she'll kind of, release your shoulder to let you turn to her if you so wish.
He
If
will.
not, he will. Okay. And she'll look very thoughtfully at you. And she lifts a hand to sort of gently brush aside some of her hair from her face. And you see her give a small sigh. She says, "Very well, my Narszelas. I shall allow you this one thing. Besides, you have done so much for me this day. The tieflings are to stay with you, then I shall have Resh see the rest of them escorted to the dungeons."
And he'll pause, and he's like, actually, mother. And he'll look over at Resh to see if there's any recognition. And he'll just say, actually, really, Lithrana should be the one. And not that I mean to question you. It's just the rest of the guards will be more than enough, and just in case these two tiefling give me trouble, they are not trained yet. Would you mind if Resh accompanies me into the house?
And Resh will speak up at that point and say, "He has a good point, Mother, as you only have to send the one of me, whereas you might have to send a couple of gloomstalkers to keep an eye on them." And Lithrana is kind of just hanging out to the side. She still has her one dagger in her hand as she gives a wide grin and says, "Besides, then at least I can have a little fun, perhaps, with this elf." And Resh will kind of immediately look over to her and say, "Lithrana," in a very warning tone. Shanzira will raise a hand to kind of get the attention of her two children. She says, "Enough out of both of you. There's no need to fight. Though, Lithrana, I will remind you to keep your hands off of him for now." "Yes, Mother. But, as they say, go ahead and escort them to the dungeon, and Resh, you shall go with Narszelas and his guests. Ensure they are comfortable."
He'll just sort of very nervously laugh and kind of look back at the group, especially looking at Taffy, and just, dead gazing directly at his eyes and sort of lowering his head a little bit. And then he'll sort of skirt around his mother and head into the house and motion for the two tiefling to come with him.
Javari follows. Without question.
Julia will give one last concerned look back to the rest of the party, and kind of mutter under their breath that the father keep an eye on all of them, and follows.
And then right behind you guys will follow Resh. He's, still has a very stoic expression upon his face and is silent as he moves, following along behind you into the house. As the rest of your friends, or as for the rest of you, you're all picked up onto your feet and, taken off into another direction where you will be taken under the house, down, a flight or two of steps as you are escorted into the family's dungeon. It's about what you would expect. It's almost pitch black in here. So Arca and Tove, you guys will probably have a lot of trouble seeing in here for the time being.
Lovely.
What little light comes in from the steps you descended, from what few lights were kind of embedded in the walls, and even then, the lights throughout the house are dim and come from either oh gosh, what would they even use to light everything?
Lights.
Hmm?
Lights, magic lights.
Just magic light, yeah. Yeah, it's mostly little magic powered lights that are kept very dim, as drow are sensitive to light as it is. And yeah, you all are thrown into cells. Arca and Taffy, you are put into one, whereas Tove, Runarian, and Yalkish get shoved into another. Your manacles stay on as they lock the doors and leave you be. So for now, we shall follow our 4 as they go into the house.
Oh, baby.
And
Narszelas
And-
will very quickly move to his old bedroom.
okay. Yeah.
And just sort of open the door, and you guys see like an octagonal room. It's very dark, kind of sparsely decorated, save for like half a dozen unfinished paintings on canvases that are just hanging like hanging up against the walls or like leaning against them, like scattered drawings just absolutely everywhere on a table nearby, like all kinds of art supplies that have been left out and just dried and ruined. It's very dusty, and he just like beckons all 3 of you inside, mostly Yavari and Yulia, just kind of lightly, nervously looking at Resh.
And as you all come into Narszelas' room, and Resh kind of stands there at the door, and he closes it behind him as his gaze is fixed upon Narszelas, and he'll speak in common now as he says, "What are you doing here, Narszelas?"
And he'll spin around, and his hands are up, and he says, "Don't out me. Listen, I know you smelled it. I know you know I'm lying. Just don't kill me and don't out me, okay?" And he's freaking the hell out. And he's rubbing at his face and at his arms and his hands. He's like, "Oh, touched me. Oh, she touched me." Just he's not having a good time. And he looks at the other 2, like at Yavari and Yulman. He's like, "Look, I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry. We have been at war with the surface for hundreds of years, and if we had just walked down here, you guys would be so dead. And I had to make it look right, cause Resh and I we have like this thing, But then Lithrana would have just killed me and you guys. I'm so sorry.
Yulia
I'm
would
so sorry."
approach him and just put their hand on his shoulders, like, I get it. It's not pretty at all. This looks very bad, but I get it. Your mother is absolutely terrifying, and if it were any other way, we probably would have been dead, right?
You would have been so dead. I'm gonna be so dead. She's gonna skin me, and she's gonna eat me, and then I'm gonna be dead.
Narszelas,
What?
it's gonna be fine.
She killed my brother.
Okay?
Yulia, it's not gonna be okay, I am betraying the rest of my family to get you guys out of here safe. I'm not gonna have anybody left. And he looks at Resh, he's like,
Hey.
You're not gonna tell her. You're not gonna tell her.
And Resh at this moment, he's standing in. Oh my gosh, all the pets for Narszelas. He needs them right now, man.
You really do. He's stressed, depressed,
Yeah.
traumatized.
And under duress.
He is traumatized.
And
A little bit. Just a little bit. But yeah, as you look at Resh and he's standing there, his hands behind his back, as he gives a small sigh through his nose. I have no intention of losing another brother to our mother.
And he just sort of sits there, and he falls back into the chair next to his desk, and he holds his face between his hands, and he's like, I have to sit through an entire banquet with this woman. What is she planning? What has she planned exactly? What's going to happen? Is she going to sacrifice me on the table? Am I gonna have to like appease her in some way?
Narszelas.
Narszelas, look at us.
Yeah.
look at me or
Mhm.
somebody.
Okay.
Just take a deep breath.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Rush will kind of speak up and say, from what I know so far, she is planning a rather elaborate banquet and intends to add you to the family tapestry as an official member of House Nokubia.
What? Oh no. Oh, she actually wants me to be part of the family now. Oh no.
For the deeds she believes you have done, yes.
Are you saying that I can't kill a queen? Are you saying that I Okay, yeah, I didn't kill the queen. Okay. Just leans back. Like,
Exactly.
okay.
You. Okay. What is she going to do if and when she finds out you
He's not
actually
gonna
did?
find out. You're not gonna say you and you've all
Oh, of course not. Of course not. But
Well, that depends. If I'm still down here, then she's going to roast me over an open fire. So I would like to not be here, but the problem is that the rest of the party is never going to trust me again, and they're gonna. Okay. So here's the thing, Resh, and he'll stand up and he's pacing, he's freaking out, and he's like, Resh, there's a problem. When she finds out that I sent Imran down here to get everybody out, I know, I know he's stupid, but listen, he was Ress's friend. I figured I could trust him. He's gonna get everybody out, assuming he doesn't turn into a spider. And then see, we can't just walk across the Underdark. We can't get through the Black Wastes. We can't go through, Azsharai in Azsharai. We can't do that. And so I was thinking, what's the fastest way to get to Mithranve? Why don't we go through the Undersea?
Oh no!
so what
Incredibly
now?
dangerous.
Yeah, only a lot. And he'll turn toward Yuli and Yavari and it's like, oh, it's the Undersea. You see, it's the ocean under the ocean, except it's full of things that want to speak to you telepathically and tell you to kill yourself.
Yeah, it's like question, but real.
Yeah. I have to get dressed for a banquet. I have to. Okay. You both have to be on your greatest, most fake behavior. I mean, if my mother tells you to jump, you ask how high. Rush, can you please go down to the dungeon and fuck with the polymorph circles, because I know Imran will touch one, or Taffy will break all of them out, and then I'm gonna have to carry a bunch of tiny spiders through the Undersea in my hand.
Resh will just kind of silently incline his head. As he then looks from Yulia to Yavari and says, as long as you can keep up the act, they will believe it. They don't suspect anything yet.
Yeah, just... You and Rush were always the best at putting on the mask, man. I will do the best that I can. Or you and Stress, sorry. Oh, 1 second. Rush? I know that you and I have never talked before, so this is kind of weird, but, I know I'm just a half-drow, and that you and the rest of the family look down on me, and you don't like me, but, I trusted someone that I shouldn't, and I lost my focus. Can you look around maybe and find something that I can use, because in an emergency, I can't.
And he kind of thinks for a moment, and he soon is reaching down to his wrist, where you see he's wearing a bracelet that looks to be mostly made of like a black chain that has a red gem held in the middle of it with your family's crest embellished upon it. And with his one hand, he'll easily undo the clasp and just holds it out to you.
Sure, just like that.
I can get another. It's not a problem.
Oh, and he'll reach out and take it and just sort of awkwardly say, thanks. Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
You raised Zres, right?
I did. Yes.
I'm asking you as a personal favor. To Zres. Don't let her kill me, man.
I will do what I can.
Thanks. Anyway, I'll start getting ready. Thank you.
He'll just kind of hum quietly before he'll turn and leave the room.
And one thing that Narszelas will do when looking between Yuli and Yavari, he'll just sort of look up from where he sits in his chair and he'll just say, so now you know why I'm so fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your mother is quite the character.
You guys.
Yeah. Yeah. She seems like great.
Yeah.
As a great.
No, but you guys, I am so sorry. I didn't mean anything that I said. I promise.
It's you did what you had to do.
I just wanted to make sure that we all got through okay. I'm. Are you sure that I can still travel with you guys?
Yes.
Of course. Well, we're the only ones that know that this whole thing was an act,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but if
I'll
we,
defend you.
yeah, we'll speak on your behalf. We'll all talk to them all together. We'll explain everything. We'll figure this out.
Honestly,
Okay?
there's no telling what's gonna happen because Imran's got to get them out and bring them to Kazna's, and you guys have never met Kazna before. That's gonna be a whole ordeal. And he'll just sort of ramble for a minute before going over to his closet, and he'll open it. And is there anything in here for him to wear?
Yeah, they're, most of your old clothes have kind of been pushed aside. And there is one outfit that is hanging in here, clearly meant for you for today. That is, a very, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, it's definitely clearly meant for a noble drow. It's unlike anything Narszelas has worn before. It's, a mixture of leather and cloth, mostly black and purple. That has kind of, gosh, I feel like you drew art of it, but I'm not really remembering. It has like spikes going down along the arms, and has kind of the mantle going over it with your family's crest upon it, around your shoulders. Yeah, just like the perfect size for you.
Okay. Is it just like normal armor?
Yeah.
Or it's not armor, but
Well,
regalia.
Yeah.
Okay. And he'll take it and he'll look toward the other two and he'll just say, "Can either of you guys apply makeup?"
I can.
I
But
have
I'm
my
sure that
disguise
Yuri is
kit.
much better.
Oh, well. Do you need help with your hair also?
And he'll pause and he'll reach up to his braids and he'll touch them and he'll say, I guess so.
Okay. We will do our best to make you look the part that you have to act.
he seems apprehensive about his hair. He seems very apprehensive, but after a minute, he reaches around his head and he just pulls out the several ties that are holding his braids shut and starts combing them out with his fingers, and this very tight, very ringlety wave of hair just sort of falls down his shoulders, and he just is like, alright, I trust you.
And Yulia, usually armed with a couple of hair ties and bobby pins on their person, will pull together something. Maybe just like a nice high bun with the hair pulled back as much as possible.
Might be too long for that, but you could do a ponytail.
Oh, okay, that works too.
Oh, also, Starry, and I just realized that the art you were referring to is my Discord icon.
Oh, that's right. Nice. Okay. But yes, either way, you guys begin to help Narszelas as he has to get ready for this lovely, lovely banquet with his family. Just fantastic.
Yulia, I will also send this to you.
Okay.
And while that is going on, we shall go to the rest of your companions down in the dungeon. So, yeah, you guys were kind of just thrown down here and have been left be for the time being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not Arca. There we go.
It's going somewhere. All right. Yeah. What you got? What you got, Taffy?
So we're in the cell. The first thing Taffy's gonna do is gonna kind of walk around. And are these open bar cells?
Yeah. I mean, they are, kind of the bars along the front made of a very dark metal, that are kept in very pristine condition, that there are no gaps, really no large gaps between them.
Okay, perfect. And are there any guards inside the prison cell or the prison block?
You kind of peer out, as and with your dark vision, it's not really a problem for you to see in the very dark conditions of the dungeon. And you do see that there are a couple of guards posted just on the other side of the hall from your cell, and you're fairly sure you can see someone else a little ways down the hall.
Okay, but they're a ways down the hall, right?
About 20 feet.
I will say also, Taffy, if this is what you're worried about, most of them are not going to be speaking common.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't. You cast tongues on somebody.
Yeah.
I was like, So then he's looking around, and kind of looking at everything. And he was like, well played. Not the way I would have wanted to travel through the Underdark, but hey, this works. Interesting plan. And when they took our weapons, did they take our gear as well? Like all of our our little tiny knickknacks and stuff?
Yeah, they probably kind of took everything off you that they would have thought was...
Okay. Dang, I don't got a toothpick. My Neferu statue. All right.
Oh, no. Yeah. There is no god down here.
So he kind of, I don't know, there's not any windows to the outside of the world, are there?
There are not, no.
Okay. So, he kind of just, goes up, leans up against, one of the walls, and he's like, I just hope, Narszelas doesn't keep us waiting too long. And he's also just kind of looking at the guards the whole time, just to sort of study their actions.
Do we know? We don't know that Narszelas is this is a ruse, right?
Okay.
No,
the only person that he made direct eye contact with was Taffy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, between that and the only person he said something to was Yulia in Elvish.
Okay. I just wanted to double check. Sorry,
Right.
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. The Taffy did some sussing. And so yeah, he just kind of he's sort of listening to what the rest of the party's saying, and he's sort of monitoring what how the guards are reacting.
Yeah, the guards aren't paying you guys any mind. Like, they've got their eyes on you, but it's not in a way like they're listening. More just kind of keeping an eye on you all. But did you say that aloud, Taffy, about waiting for Narszelas?
He kind of was, mumbling it to himself as he was wandering around the cell.
Okay. Just making sure.
Gotcha.
Smart move. Don't really want to start.
Yeah. Arca is just silently, angrily stewing, feathers bristling. He's a big man.
And Tove, who kind of she can't see shit, probably stumbled and fell when she got kind of shoved into whatever cell her and Runarian and the RN, and so she's sort of sitting wherever fell, but she's clearly not happy to the point where she just she's not yelling, it's not incredibly loud, but it would be loud enough that she would hope the guards could hear her, even though she's pretty sure they don't know what she's saying, and she's kind of going off. She's cursing, and she's cursing in Common and in Dwarvish, because why the fuck not? And and she's going on and on about how she hopes that now that hold together this giant army, and he's going to march down there and show them no mercy, and she's just
God.
Oh boy.
She
So Taffy's gonna are we in cells next door, or are we how far apart are we?
Yeah, you're in the cells next to each other. You can't see each other as there's just a solid wall between you. But they are right next to you.
Okay. So he's kind of, trying to speak through the wall, while trying to be quiet, and he's like, hey, Tove. Can you hear me, Tove?
Tove just keeps going. It's and the army's gonna swarm the Underdark and burn your cities to ash and dust.
Tove.
The cleric is angry.
No, let her cook.
When you anchor your cleric, let her cook.
She's a literal any sort of semblance of respect or even honestly compassion that she had is gone.
Taffy just kind of sighs and just gonna let her get it out of her system.
Eventually she ends up shutting up, mostly because her throat gets sore.
Oh my god.
She's gonna save some voice for the banquet, so when Narszelas drives a dagger into her heart, she can get the last word in.
So once everyone settles down, gets the rage out, Taffy kind of Arca can't see, so Taffy goes over to Arca and kind kind of pats him on the shoulder. Like, you holding up okay?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. It's fine. And he makes sure to turn away from the guards so they can't read their lip. I don't know. Taffy's paranoid.
Yeah, like I said, they're really not paying any mind to you guys as you talk.
Okay. And he's kind of sort of lowering his voice and is like, listen, Arca, I am fairly sure, hopefully I'm banking on being sure here, that fairly sure that was from in my time as being a salesman, that was probably a play. Interesting plan, but listen, I'm sure we'll be out of here in no time. We just gotta wait on Nars. Got it?
Are you sure about that? After all these times we've been backstabbed?
Not 100%, but if Nars was gonna backstab us, it would have probably been done a little bit more dramatic. Well, not dramatic, but more. We'd have been dead. We'd be dead right now. We might have been dead much earlier. That was a little quite a show. Listen, we weren't gonna just walk down here and travel around all willy-nilly. At least I don't think so. I don't particularly know how the Underdark work, but considering how many times Narszelas has asked us to trust him, now would probably be the time to actually trust him.
Arca is silent for a moment, and it's kind of like he's in a mood where like he wants to stay angry, but at the same time Taffy's words do seem reasonable.
Now
he eventually says, okay, I'll believe that what you saw wasn't just some hopeful delusion, and that you've broken after all of this bullshit we've been through.
That's listen, if there's any hope left, it's got to be now, because if it's not, well, I mean, we're dead anyway. Just try to keep it up. We need to still kind of play into this, assuming it is a play, which I'm really hoping it is, but try to not say anything too let's call it mean to poor Narszelas. I'm sure he's already putting a lot through here. Being put through a lot in here.
True.
And besides, Narszelas, that was pretty clever. I'm sure Narszelas has an absolutely fully laid out plan.
Kind of during this whole time, ever since you guys got down here, Renarian's just been kind of sitting quietly in one corner of the cell. He has his knees drawn up to his chest, and his arms just kind of resting atop them, with Nialkish curled up next to his side.
Oh.
And even as Taffy and Arca are speaking with one another, he very unresponsive at the moment. As you just hear the quiet sobs of the princess.
Oh my. So Taffy's gonna ask Arca, listen, I need you to do me a little bit of a solid here for a minute. I'm gonna lead you to the front of the prison, or the cage we're in, and I need you to sort of walk back and forth real quick while I try and explain this to our companions next next cell over.
Very well. And Arca gets up and he starts pacing as instructed.
And Taffy will kind of lead him around so he knows where the edges of the cell are, so that Yeah.
I keep forgetting.
And then oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, real quick. Just as you do that, you hear a pair of footsteps approaching from down the hallway.
Well,
and
oh no.
You'll see Taffy, since you are able to see in the dark. the familiar figure of a red-haired male drow, approaching at a nonchalant, slow pace. And he'll stop briefly in front of your cell and kind of look into you and Arca. But you can't read the expression that's on his face, as he'll then turn to the two guards and says something to them in Drowic. And the two give a salute to him before they move off down the hallway and out of sight. And he just kind of looks back to you for a moment, inclines his head slightly, and then continues down the way he was walking.
Oh. When he tilts his head, who is that towards?
Towards you.
Oh, Taffy specifically?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting mixed messages. Uh-oh. Well, I'm gonna have to make a call here. All right. That was a little confusing. Taffy's a little confused, but he's like, okay, that was either a God, I wish everyone remembered those hand signs. He's like, well, I don't know if we can trust this guy. All right. It kind of looks that has he like left the whole prison area entirely?
Yeah, I mean, you hear him walking away. He's going at his slow pace without hurry, particularly, but he doesn't like come back towards you guys.
Oh, jeez. All right, you know what, we're gonna, now that the area is clear, he can speak a little louder. He kind of, actually, you know what he's gonna do real quick? He's gonna look around for spiders on the ceiling or in the corners of his cell. Obviously can't see into other cells.
Why the spider?
Because he remembers once that Nars said that drow are spiders.
Good, Taffy.
And
Bless him.
yeah, you look around your dark cell, and in a couple of the corners you see there are spider webs, and you do see there's a couple of like the spiders of a size that you're used to on the surface that are rather small compared to some of the ones you've seen prowling in the city.
Okay, that's a little sus. All right, so Taffy, being the paranoid kitty he is right now,
Oh my god,
is gonna get to the corner of the cell, like where the cell opens up into the hallway, and close to the next door cell that like Tove and the others are in. And he's like, Tove, come here.
Taffy?
Yes. Oh wait, you can't see in the dark.
I can't see anything.
Feel around for the wall and then see if you can come to the sound of my voice.
Okay, feel around for the wall. Okay. So Tove will just start feeling around for the wall, and she'll find the wall. Make her way closer to where Taffy's voice is.
Okay. And then he'll say, do you know Halfling or Sylvan?
Like the languages?
Yes.
No. I can speak Common and I can speak Dwarvish, but that's
Wait a minute.
as far as.
Didn't Nars no wait, that was, never mind.
you'll hear Runarian speak up in a very tired voice as he says, "If you're worried about someone overhearing, drow don't usually learn common."
I'm more worried about the spiders, as he glances into a corner.
He just sighs, but he doesn't say anything else.
All right, well, we'll have to take that risk. All right, Tove.
Oh, okay.
You'll need to tell the rest of the your cellmates, but I'm fairly certain that Narszelas was doing a play, making a move. Interesting plan. I know it's really hard. I know it's very hard, but he has only told us to trust him like 400,000 times before we got here. We need to believe in him. If he was going to stab us in the back, it would have happened by now, or we would have been dead on that bridge. a little dramatic, not how I want to travel around down here, but hey, whatever works, whatever works. I mean, we really weren't going to just walk in drow territory, unattested. But we need to believe him, all right? And if you don't want to believe him, that's fine. Just, can you trust in me?
And, Tove, who's kind of, like, curled up, like curled in on herself, like she's brought her, like, knees up to her chest and hugging herself, is just, like, shakes her head in the dark, and she's like, Taffy, you don't understand. Like, the things that he said to me, there's no way that he could just, like, made those up, like, as some sort of ruse. There's no way that any of this is just...
I know it hurts. It hurts a lot. And I don't have any words. It's really hard for me to make it any less painful. But I need to know if we go and get out of here, I need to make sure everyone's not going to go and jump Narszelas the second we meet back up with him. We need to stay focused and as a unit if we're going to get out of here alive.
I'm not going to try and kill him if that's what you're worried about.
Okay, that's all I can. We'll start there. I'll ask for that. We can say our sorries and apologies and forgiveness stuff, and all that. Whether or not you take it or not, we'll do that later. I just need to make sure we're all on board.
Okay.
All right. You can calm down. I need you to do me a favor. If you can talk to Ari and talk to the princess and get them ready to go. I think that drow that looks really just like Narszelas, I think he just gave a signal. I'm gonna I don't know, but we've got an opening, and we're gonna see about taking it.
And Tove will very blindly sort of make her way deeper into the cell until she finds Runarian.
He, realizing that she's coming over, will probably hold out an arm from where he's sitting just to kind of help guide her once she gets close. So, reach for her hand or something.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea because she probably looks a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll sort of move over next to him and say very quietly, Happy thinks this is all some sort of trick Narszelas is playing on his mother and everyone here. He's pretty sure that Narszelas is not, trying to turn us over to his mother, or at least is trying to find... Taffy just wanted me to tell you.
And Runarian gives a long sigh as he kind of leans his head back against the wall behind him, and he'll say, I want to believe that, too, if I do. I don't know.
It's okay. Sorry.
It's alright. It's awful for me to admit, but for a brief moment I couldn't help but think of... And he stops himself, like he's having a hard time saying what had come to his mind, and soon just shakes his head. never mind. We haven't known Narszelas that long. Though I'd like to think that I'd gotten to know him quite well over the couple of weeks he was staying with my father and I. I don't see how he could truly do something like this. I want to believe it's just a ruse, a facade.
And Tofu let out her own sigh and say, I don't know what to believe, and until he tells me himself, I don't know if I can trust that what Taffy is saying is true.
I understand.
And Tofu sort of paused for a moment, almost as if she's hesitant to ask what she's about to ask. But she swallows, and her hand sort of tightens on his arm, and she says, Narszelas' sister? You recognized her. What?
You can feel him tense up underneath your hand. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
He almost kind of seems like he might not respond because of how quiet he is, and he'll reach over to where your hand is, and he'll kind of take it off for a moment, remove it from his arm, and you probably really can't see what he's doing, but he will reach for his sleeve. As you know, Renarian, even over the 2 weeks that you spent in Valgard and you spent time with him, he's always one to wear long sleeves, covering up like as much of himself as possible. And he reaches for his sleeve as he says, she was there during the Second Dark War 50 years ago, when my father and I were stationed in Darkwood, known as under a different name then. And it was our units against 3 house assassins of the Drow. The Throna being one of them, Resh another, and I don't quite recall who the third one was. They were slaughtering us left and right, and I was horribly underexperienced to be there, and I told my father I insisted I should not have been in that position. And he'll kind of slowly rolls up his sleeve to his elbow, and he'll take your hand and press it against his skin. And as he kind of like takes your hand up his arm, you can feel there's spots on his arm where the skin doesn't feel quite right, where it feels like rough and uneven in certain spots. And he'll say, Throna had me cornered, and needless to say, she for lack of a better word, she tortured me to get information out of me in regards to Valgard's military strategies, cutting along places that would hurt without killing me entirely from blood loss. was almost dead by the time I was found by the Valkyries from Italy.
And Tove, hearing all of this and feeling how he had been hurt, her eyes grow wide in the dark, and the tears begin to prick at the corners of her eyes, and she just says, I'm so sorry.
It's not something you have to apologize for, Tove. It's not like you were the one who did it.
No, I know, but you shouldn't have had to. Well, and you shouldn't have to be here now, and I just, I hope if Narszelas is, I hope if he's really not betraying us, that he gets us out of here soon, before she can do anything else to you.
Well, at the very least, I'd rather it be me than anyone else. And it's at about this moment where I thought, Taffy and Arca, what are you guys doing in your cell at the moment?
I'll let Arca go first.
I would say that Arca is currently sitting down on the floor. He's kind of... He doesn't know what to do. So at this point, he is simply processing this all and waiting.
What about Taffy?
Oh, so okay. While the conversation's going on, he's basically scanning the cell for vulnerabilities. So you said this was a very nicely maintained prison.
Yes, everything is in fairly pristine condition. But no, just like, so is that just what he's doing? Just kind of scanning around at the moment?
If everything is in pristine, yes. So basically, he's looking for uneven parts in the wall, notably the bar section of his cell, where the door is. Is that a hinge door, or does it like open in some special way?
From what you can tell as you're looking over, it appears to be one on hinges. However, as you are looking at that, you realize as you're looking, there's suddenly someone else standing on the bars just on the other side of your cell.
Whoa!
Just outside of your cell. With yellow eyes that are staring in at you all, at you and Arca through the bars. As a quiet voice says, you guys doing okay in there?
Taffy leaps back and squints and is like, oh. And just the smile on his face, like, this was the plan. Okay. Oh, we're holding up. He quickly runs back up to the the bars. And is like, okay. I assume you're here to help spring us out of here?
Yeah, Imran nods as you see he kind of takes out a lock-picking set and kind of gets to work on the lock on the door. Which you can see as he begins to work on it, there's a rune that seems to be glowing upon it very faintly, which he's doing his best to work with as he says, Did Narszelas, tell you guys? Or, I mean, he made it very clear he was not telling you guys anything about his plan, and I told him that was probably a bad idea. Probably, like, the best option you had. I wasn't really sure.
It's had some consequences,
shit.
but like, don't worry about it. We'll deal with that later. Hold on, let me go get the hold on. And he turns around quickly and he goes over to Arca and he kneels down and is like, all right, it's time to move. Put your hand on my shoulder and I'll lead you out here.
All right. Thank you, by the way.
No problem. We're gonna need to move quickly.
Yeah. And, yeah, he puts his hand on Taffy's shoulder and allows his seeing eye tabaxi to lead him onwards.
Seeing eye tabaxi.
Yes.
So, lead him back up to the gate.
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. That's fine.
I was just gonna wait patiently, unless he's like having a real hard time, and then Tab's like, "Do you need me to do it?"
Let's see here.
Oh dang!
He seems to not be having a problem. The and as he unlocks it, he whispers words underneath his breath as he holds a hand over the rune on the lock, and after a moment, that also vanishes. And he'll take it off of the door so he can open it and say, I forgot he can't speak common very well. He'll say, stay quiet. Wait. As he'll move over to the other cell to start working on that one as well.
Okay, and Taffy will wait. He won't open the door yet.
And, Tove, you'll hear voice at the entrance of your cell saying, hey, human.
Oh.
Turns into a spider, I quit.
Imran? Imran?
Yes.
What are you doing here?
And as you ask that, you hear him suddenly suck in a hiss of breath as you see a sudden flash of light from the entrance of your cell, which almost looked like a sudden flame, like shooting out at Imran, which briefly lights up the hallway and everything around you.
Nice.
And in that moment, you can see him there holding his hand as he shakes it and hisses under his breath. You can see like Taffy and Arca are standing there beside him. He quickly gets out a new set of lockpick as he says, Narszelas asked I help get you out.
Oh dang, there he goes.
Hey.
That was some
Tove's kind of
motivation.
like picks herself up and she's just like, wait, what? Narszelas asked. Oh my god. Oh gods. Oh fuck. Okay. She'll sort of make her way over to the door.
And Runarian, gets up as well with Nyalkish beside him as Imran quickly works on the lock and gets it off of the gate to open it for you and the other two. And he'll say, we go now. Narszelas and tieflings come after, meeting somewhere safe.
Okay, good. There is a plan. See, I knew there was a plan. He's like,
Yes.
Taffy's just ecstatic right now.
Meanwhile, Tove's face is just insanely pale.
All right, and Taffy kind of spins around and he's like, all right, you can see in the dark, right?
To Imran?
No, to Renard. Ari, I can never pronounce his name correctly.
No, it's okay. Yeah, Ari nods.
Okay, I need you to make sure that the princess and Tove. You take care of them, and I'll lead Arca. You got it?
I will.
Okay.
He'll kind of reach out to like take Tove's hand to make sure that he can lead her in the right direction.
No stumbling for Tove.
Yeah. And
And he-
Imran will just say, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And then he kind of grabs Arca's arm, wing arm. I think it's just your arm,
No,
right?
He's got arms.
Yeah, okay.
Arms and wings.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, just follow me, all right?
All right.
And he turns back and he's like, all right, we're good to go.
Just stay low, silent, and quick. And Imran will hurriedly lead you guys down the hallway and out of the estate. All right. Oh, I don't want a circle.
I don't want a circle.
Oh. You guys are going away for the moment. Okay. So as Imran gets you all out of there. In the meantime, back in the house. Some time has passed, and it is now time for the lovely banquet. So Narszelas, you take Yulia and Yuvari with you as you lead them through the house to the banquet hall. And, as you walk in, hope I do this on the right leg. As you walk in, you see your mother is there already at the head of the table.
Joy.
Joy.
Yeah, that's great. Oh God.
Flashback to
Large.
Yuvari talking about breaking your mother's back by stepping on a crack, and Narszelas said, "God willing."
Yeah.
Just stepping on every crack you could find
Yep.
between here and the banquet.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Yeah, you go into the banquet hall and you see, did we determine were the guys on the right or the
Guys
girls
are on the
were?
left. Yeah, guys
Right.
are on the left.
So immediately to your mother's right, there is an empty seat that you recall from your childhood was usually Shinrei's spot. But your sister appears to not be here. Next to that is Lathrana. And further down are two young drow kids with white hair that you recognize as Triel and Alira.
Mhm.
And then to your mother's left is another empty seat, which has, for you, as far as you remember, was always Zres's spot. As you know, once you were born, he was the master assassin, since Resh was not present. Which you would think, that spot should go back to him being home, but he's in the next seat over, which was usually your old seat. And further down the table, there's kind of an array of a couple of other drow between your mother's favorite consort, who I'm having such a hard time finding his token, even though I just made it.
It's okay. It's
Your mother's what?
He's not important. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. You see, he's sitting there, as well as another consort of hers who doesn't look entirely familiar to you. And at the other head of the table, opposite of your mother, is another very familiar figure, who you saw back in Eastsoft.
Oh.
Oh, here I have her favorite consort. There he is.
My dad.
Yeah, that his his name as Vustran.
Mhm.
And yeah, you know him to be Resh's father or Zres's father. And that good stuff. And yeah, at the very other end of the table, as soon as I find it, it's in here somewhere. It's under this one. I have so many folders and folders within folders. But you see the familiar sight of Lady Elisaria Vondry,
Huh?
the mother of and leader of House Vondry. And sitting beside her, next to your youngest sisters, is the familiar face of Shintun.
Oh
So
boy.
Narszelas looks like he's just sucked all of his extremities back inside of his body. His eyes are huge. He's like his eyes are gunning down Shintu because this woman can end his entire career. And he just sort of gives this really nervous look to Yavari, and then like moves over to where Resh is sitting, and he's just like, I think I'm supposed to sit there.
And as soon as you say that, your mother says, Narszelas, you shall sit here next to me this evening.
I can only put so many pets on the screen, okay?
But that's reserved for your favorite.
Yes, and considering your marvelous exploits, I believe that spot has changed to you.
We love fostering sibling hatred here. No, he will awkwardly just sort of look at Yavari and Yulia and motion to the empty seats on the female side of the table, and then very slowly and uncomfortably sit next to Resh, who he immediately turns and gives like this look to of abject terror.
Resh just kind of gives him a very silent look of raised eyebrows and just the smallest, like, turn of his head to the side. As if to kind of try to silently tell him to not put up an argument about it. And, Yulia and Yavari, seeing as you are Narszelas' guests, you will be permitted to sit at the table with the family. Shuffling everyone around here. He's gonna come scoot you over here.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You're sitting here now.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. That's great.
And can Narszelas ask a question?
Yeah, in just a moment. So, just to kind of help describe what you all see before you on the table. Or actually, no, the food's not served yet. So yeah, go ahead. I forgot.
Narszelas will turn to look at his mother.
Mhm.
Politely and as honeyed sweet as he can, to say, Ilharis, might I inquire as to why Lady Vondry and her daughter are here this evening? And he'll turn and look down the table at Shintu and be like, that's the woman that I almost killed.
And you'll see as you look at Shintun, she has her elbows on the table. Her fingers are like laced together with her chin resting upon it, and she's just smiling sweetly at you from across the table. And your mother, Shenzira, will say, oh, worry not, Narszelas. I do have everything shall be explained after dinner, but you really should eat first. You look horribly malnourished.
Are you sure I can't know beforehand?
And she'll kind of look over towards Lady Elisaria, who's just smiles back to her, and your mother will say, well, since you are so eager, And she'll kind of make a hand motion to some of the servants. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'll say she'll kind of make a hand motion off to some of the servants to kind of bring in the food, and they'll move to go do that as she'll look over to Shintoon and say, and Lady Elisari, and she'll say, as it so happens, it has come to my attention that you had a run-in with House Fondry while you were up on the surface. Is this correct?
Uh-huh. Yep, I did.
From what I hear, you and the young Shintoon had quite a time together.
Yes, he did. At this point, he's like, I'm gonna die. This is where she's...
Well, Lady Elisaria has come to me with the request, and considering what you have done for not only your family, but for all of the Drow, I thought it kind to accept the request made of me.
What is that request?
And
He's trying so hard not to sound nervous, but he is so nervous.
Now, quick question, does he still have... Did he recover his hand with the crystal in it?
No, he knows better.
Okay. And she'll kind of reach over, and she'll kind of brush her fingers, like, very gently over the back of your hand. And she'll say... Huh?
He will flinch a little.
She doesn't seem to notice. As she'll say... Well, Shintoon, though young, is of the right age where she may start to find consorts of her own, and has requested that I allow her to begin her first hunt. For you.
Oh boy!
Narszelas has started to slide down in his seat. I mean, his eyes are on Resh. He's melting. He's melting, and he's just like...
Resh will, like, lean over to put a hand on his other arm. Just kind of give him a look like, just hang in there. You know? Kind of quickly take his hand away.
You don't say, me and Shintoon, that's, you were so kind, Mother, you were, wow, that's a thing, that's so kind, and me and Shintoon, me and Shintoon, you're mating me to Shintoon?
Shintoon was quite persistent, and as I said, considering now your elevated status, such a union shall bring nothing but good things for both our families.
I am incredibly grateful for this, and I accept, Mother. It's just, wasn't Shintoon originally interested in dress?
And the smile on your mother's face kind of ebbs as you ask that, as she pulls her hand away from you. And at this moment, the servants are starting to bring out the food to be served, which, Yavari and Yulia, for you, it is food unlike any you have seen before. You see they bring out, plates of creeping vines and roots that are kind of served together as like some sort of salad. You see curries made of beans and lentils, heavily spiced, served side by side on a dish with flat, almost bread-like mushroom caps, with a spongy texture from what you can tell, probably meant to eat the curry with. There is what you can only assume to be the stomach or something of some beast from here in the Underdark, has been stuffed with ground meat, heart, and liver, and served over a bed of sautéed mushrooms and very vibrant green moss. And Shanzira will respond to Narszelas as they're, bringing everything out, and she will say, "Fortunately, your brother proved to be quite the disappointment, and well, yes, I was quite keen to mate him off to Shintun. I believe you will do just fine."
How lucky I am.
You are my Narszelas. And she'll reach over and she'll put her hand on your arm, like right where your wrist is. And if you try to pull away from her, she will not let you.
Oh, love that.
His nails are going to reach over into Resh's leg, and he's going to just claw.
Resh is unmoving, as just tenses slightly, but otherwise is very still. And Shinziro will say, "Are you not happy, my Narszelas?"
Of course I am.
"I know you will bring pride to our family, as you already have with your wonderful deeds."
Of course. And anything that you want.
"Anything?" She squeezes your wrist slightly. And Resh, in that moment, will suddenly bang his hand upon the table. Like the palm of his hand upon the table, very roughly and sharply, to kind of draw attention. And Shanzira will immediately let go of your wrist and put her hand back into her lap.
Oh. And Narszelas will pull his hand under the table and just look at Resh because loud noise.
Apologies. He'll just kind of is like staring your mother down with, even for him, a very intense gaze. And you just hear like Lithrana giggling from the other side of the table. As Resh will sort of lean back into his chair. But your mother will kind of shake it off and not pay any mind to it as she'll continue. "Well, Narszelas, seeing as how I know you have been so exhausted by your busyness up on the surface, I told Shintun to at least give you a couple of days to rest and readjust to your life here in Philisera." She'll kind of... I'm sorry?
No, he just said that's kind of you.
She'll nod her head as she kind of looks then over to Shintun, who bows her head deeply to her and says, "Again, my thanks for this, Valsharis. I am most happy that you have agreed to my request, and I cannot wait to start my first hunt."
Narszelas is going to stand up very suddenly. I mean, the seat screeches on the floor as he does so, and he moves his eyes over to the two tiefling, and his eyes are big. I mean, they're big. And then he looks at Shintun and he says, "I'm sorry, Mother. I don't think I got enough rest. I suddenly feel incredibly ill. I am incredibly grateful that you have given me to House Mondre. But I must ask permission to continue my rest."
She sighs and pouts slightly as you request this and says, "Very well, Narszelas. You may go. However," and before you can go too far, she reaches out, grabs your wrist one more time, as there's that just sweet smile upon her lips as she'll say, "You know, you have been gone for so long, but don't forget that I am your mother, and I do love you, my Narszelas."
Did he pull away?
You can try, but she holds very tightly.
Narszelas will just look at her in the face. And he opens his mouth and he's like, "Yes, mother, I love her."
She'll just smile a little wider as she'll release you and kind of make a dismissive hand motion for you to go.
And he'll look at Yuli and Yavari and gesture them toward the door, and as he's heading for the door, he'll say, "Resh, can you join me for a moment?"
Marsh sort of looks up at you and says, "Very well." He'll rise from his feet as he bows his head to your mother and says, "Please excuse me, Ilharas. Just come back soon, Resh." But she'll allow him to go as well. As you all,
Narszelas yeets himself into a different part of the house.
Yee?
Yeet! Oh, that works.
Narshelas shaped
fine.
hole in the wall.
Yes! In fact, yes! As they enter the hallway and the door's shut, he'll walk because it's a very long hallway. He's walking, and then he just stops. And he turns to Yavari and Yulia, and you just hear, "Ah!"
you know, I love how that cut out.
Yeah.
You hear
It's like,
him yelling from my living room.
He just yells. He just yells. Like, bent over, holding his head, just yells.
Mhm.
Julia will kneel down next to him and put both hands on either side of his shoulders.